Okay, hello, we're live. We got some videos here set up. I'll just ease into the stream as usual. Just kind of take it nice and slow to begin and then kind of ramp up. But yeah, there's one video I want to watch that's I found some haters talking about this Alberta independence. So we'll definitely get to that. But hello, everybody.
Canada is one step closer today.
You know the story of Cinderella? It's a beautiful story because she escaped. That's what's going to happen here.
Worked 44 years in the oil patch, and the East has always taken from here and abused us.
Western provinces have officially crossed a line Canada never thought they would. What started as frustration has turned into paperwork, deadlines, and open alignment with the United States, shaking the country at its core. This is a brutal signal that the map Canada trusts is starting to break.
Alberta leaving Confederation, listen. Alberta didn't turn right. Canada went left. That's the issue.
This didn't start with a vote. It started with paperwork. And that's the part most people missed. Countries don't crack apart anymore through riots and street chaos. They break when systems stop holding, when procedures replace slogans.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think it's economically good. We'll have control of our own pipelines and make our own decisions instead of being puppets to Ottawa.
The feeling of being ripped off is a very strong feeling, a very strong emotion.
When timelines replace speeches.
Yeah, I'll watch the haters, but I'll just wait till more people get in here. But because I found a pretty interesting video on some haters for sure.
Alberta didn't wake up one day waving flags and yelling slogans. It walked into Elections Alberta, followed the law, and activated a legally binding independence process. That's not rebellion. That's execution. And once that switch flips...
And the alienation and the abuse, I mean, the federal politicians, they actually think that they can do as they please and that no one will say anything. Well, maybe that's true out in Quebec and Ontario. I'm not sure. But here in Alberta, we're a different breed. We're a different culture.
What we're watching isn't emotional separatism. It's math catching up to politics. Western provinces aren't acting out.
What's everyone up to tonight? What are you guys all doing? Sunday night? Anything interesting happen today?
They're recalculating. When costs keep rising, returns keep shrinking, and the rules never change.
This is a new channel, by the way, I'm reacting to. Canada Political Brief. Yeah, 41,000 views. Wow. It kind of looks like it's probably AI. Man, AI is actually taking over YouTube. It's a little concerning, I think. But I think it's fine.
People stop arguing and start filing paperwork. That's what makes this moment dangerous for Ottawa. You can ignore protests.
Ottawa may indeed be losing the West for good.
You can't ignore statutes with deadlines. And here's the part Ottawa hates. The deadline, May 2nd. Nearly 178,000 signatures. Deadlines force decisions. Deadlines kill delay. For decades, the federal government's most effective weapon wasn't persuasion. It was time. Slow it down. Study it. Talk it to death. That weapon is gone. Once the process entered election law, federal power shifted from command to reaction. Elections Alberta is now the gatekeeper, not Ottawa. That's when the panic starts quietly.
That's a good point. It's like some AI video, but
don't wait for ballots.
Maybe it's AI. I think it is, probably.
They react to probability. The moment a legal exit path becomes credible, capital starts adjusting. Lenders tweak terms. Insurers reassess exposure. Long-term contracts get reviewed. Energy firms quietly revisit commitments.
Sadly, though, we have seen with his predecessors, many of the cabinet ministers who are at the table then are going to be at the table now. They had overly aggressive targets that were unachievable.
Infrastructure, financing tightens, and it compounds. Federal borrowing costs face pressure long before a single vote is cast.
Okay, check this out just for fun. I'm making a do any of these, it doesn't look like Danielle Smith. I'm just trying to make a Danielle Smith for my thumbnail, but this is not, I mean, this is not Danielle Smith. Maybe it's some random woman. Not great.
Because revenue assumptions start to wobble. Confidence doesn't collapse loudly. It leaks out. Once investors see a province operating inside a lawful exit mechanism, uncertainty becomes real. That's the unseen damage, the kind you can't reverse with speeches about unity.
Well, obviously we came here to sign because we want Alberta to be independent, to finally have its say.
And this is where the story gets bigger than Alberta. This isn't one province throwing a tantrum, it's 7 regions moving in the same direction. Saskatchewan, interior British Columbia.
Yeah, there was some news about this actually I'm going to get to later.
Yeah.
How's everyone doing tonight? I prefer the old. Yeah, well, I think most of the videos that are good will still not be AI, but I don't even know if you could consider this AI. I mean, this probably is made with AI, this video, but
Manitoba's trade corridors, northern resource regions, even Quebec's renewed sovereignty posture feeds into the same pressure system. These regions already trade south.
the live streaming, though, I think AI won't. I mean, it probably could do it, but live stream AI would be awful. So I think live streaming is sort of maybe the only option to kind of get away from the AI stuff. Because I think if you're just a traditional YouTube video person, I think you definitely have to be worried about it, which I am, to be honest. My other YouTube channel is, I think, could be kind of replicated with AI, like not perfectly, but I definitely think it could get pretty close.
Their logistics already align south.
So why would a
Which is kind of concerning for, I think, every YouTuber, really.
majority of Albertans think separation could happen if only a minority?
But AI can't talk to the chat. I mean, it can, but it's going to be, it's not the personal touch. The streaming, it's almost worse and a little sloppier. And I don't think AI is going to be able to replicate that. I think it's just more human in a sense, but I still probably watch for sure just more normal YouTube videos than streams. If Canada refuses to negotiate freely, yeah, because I think United States, I believe, has already said they would recognize or Alberta. Hello, everyone. Hello, Dan. What's up? What's up? What's up?
Actually wanted to. I mean, there's always been an element.
I found an interesting video about some haters, and we'll get to that. I'll just maybe wait till we're 20 minutes or so into the stream, just till there's a few more people in here, because it's fascinating. I've only watched maybe 3 minutes of the video so far, and it's maybe like 12 minutes long. So I've only actually seen the first little bit, but I was watching it last night and I was like, okay, I got to react to this video because this is great.
Fringes with an appetite for the idea. What's changed?
Stack them together, and the scale becomes impossible to dismiss. You're looking at more than 20 million people. Global tier oil reserves, strategic uranium supply, critical minerals tied directly to defense and technology, reliable power exports feeding U.S. grids. Many sovereign countries operate comfortably with far less weight than that. The idea that these regions depend on Ottawa.
This is probably the most effective way of channeling that energy into something, and we'll see if this gets on the ballot later this year.
Collapses under basic math, and coordinated motion changes everything. One province talking about leaving is noise. Multiple regions aligning creates leverage. Leverage forces attention, not from Ottawa.
Yeah, but I don't agree with that. If it's just Alberta, it's not just noise. It's a huge deal.
But from outside.
I think I'm debating with AI right now. This is big brain content.
Washington doesn't care about Canadian unity narratives. It cares about stability, access, and continuity of supply. A legally structured referendum doesn't look like chaos to them. It looks like predictability.
I've always been proud to be a Canadian, I love to be a Canadian, but I don't believe that I can stay a part of Canada anymore.
That's why this conversation keeps drifting toward the United States. Western Canada already functions inside the American economic orbit. Alberta controls one of the largest proven oil reserves on Earth. Saskatchewan supplies a critical share of global uranium. Manitoba anchors agricultural throughput. British Columbia's interior exports raw materials through corridors pointed straight at U.S. markets. These aren't ideological talking points. They're strategic assets. When those assets
Hello, John. Thank you for chatting. Hello from Indiana. I think you were here the other day, right?
signal potential political
Shout out to Indiana.
realignment, attention follows. Quietly, early, and seriously. And then there's equalization.
Ottawa may indeed be losing the West for good. So, in a shock move, Western leaders such as Alberta Premier Danielle Smith,
The structural weak point cracking the country. Alberta sends over $20 billion a year in net fiscal transfers. Over decades, that compounds into hundreds of billions. Redistribution works when contributors believe the system is permanent and fair.
Okay, I updated the thumbnail. Does that look like to you Danielle Smith at all in the thumbnail? Just right here? Not really, but I asked AI for a picture. It kind of does, maybe from like a distance, but yeah, that's Danielle Smith apparently in a cowboy hat.
It collapses when contributors signal exit. That's when spreadsheets turn hostile. Provinces reassess exposure.
Yeah, Alberta and Saskatchewan are like the two provinces right now that are contributing more, for sure.
Federal programs built on permanent transfers start to wobble. Losing a revenue anchor forces redesign at speed and scale. This isn't ideology, it's accounting. Federations don't fall because people get angry. They fall when the numbers stop balancing. And that pressure is hitting a generation that doesn't romanticize the flag. Now here's the part Ottawa really doesn't want to say out loud. Because once you say it,
So we got a bunch more videos, but yeah, keep feeling free to interact with me via the chat. And in about 5 minutes, I'm going to get to that hater video.
Can't unsay it. The United States is already in this story.
Yeah, I know it's probably AI. I'm like 90% sure it's AI. AI slop is going to take over YouTube, which sucks. I hope YouTube kind of fixes this because this is I mean, obviously, if it's fine for me right now because I'm like using it to my stream, but I don't know.
Said, well, why don't you just join our country? You become 51, become the 51st.
I don't. I bet you just it'll be like a prompt. You just say something like, "Make me a 12-minute video with clips and an AI voice that summarizes Alberta independence or something," and then it just spits out some video, and you pay like for the credits or whatever. I just think this is going to get so common because you can make money on this. Like this video has 41,000 views in a day, which is good. And so like there's a lot of incentive for people to make these videos, and it's easy. You don't have to show your face. You could do a video like this and still work your 9-to-5 job and no one will even know what your politics are.
It's just not tweeting about it. Western Canada doesn't lean American. It already lives in the American economic orbit. Alberta's oil flows south. Saskatchewan's uranium feeds U.S. reactors.
Hello, Craig. To separatists, be honest. Well, that's interesting, but what do you think about that? Why don't you share what you think will be the cost? Because I think there will be some upfront, obviously, probably for some amount of time, some level of for sure cost and ambiguity and sorting out what happens, but I don't think that's a reason to vote for or against it. Like obviously it's a long-term play here.
Manitoba's agriculture moves through U.S. aligned supply chains.
And I don't know what people in Alberta are even supposed to think. Like, I think the big thing lately would be the Liberals have been in power for so long. The country has not gotten better. In fact, it's gotten measurably worse. And the country voted Liberal again. Alberta didn't. So I think Alberta, like, what are you supposed to think? How long can you continue to do this when you keep voting Conservative, the country keeps voting Liberal, and things don't get better? It's still incredible that the Liberals won again, despite how bad they made the country in the last 10 years.
Electricity grids don't stop at borders. Rail doesn't care about speeches. Pipelines don't pause for national anthems. This stuff already moves every single day, quietly, efficiently, without asking Ottawa for permission. And Washington knows that. The U.S. doesn't sit around debating Canadian unity. It evaluates stability and access. That's it. If the supply is steady and the rules are predictable.
Okay, I'm going to keep this on. I'm just going to use the washroom, and then I'll be back, and then we'll get to the hater video because it's quite funny. So we'll do that. I'll be right back.
They're happy. If not, they adjust.
This is not just an ideological argument. It's not just a minor disagreement. Oil is by far the most valuable export for Canada.
That's how power works. This is why a regulated referendum matters so much. Emotional politics don't impress serious governments. Procedures do. A legal process with verification, deadlines, and enforceability signals something very different than angry rallies. It says this might actually happen. And when outcomes start to look enforceable instead of theoretical, attention follows. Quietly. Early. Seriously. That's the difference between shouting and filing. One gets ignored, the other gets noticed. Now let's talk about the thing that actually cracks federations. Equalization. Not feelings or identity. It's just the math. This is why countries unravel through accounting long before they unravel through arguments. You can spin speeches forever. You can't spin balance sheets. And this pressure is landing hardest on a group Ottawa has already lost control of.
Alberta town of Millet, less than an hour south of Edmonton. People here are lining up near the community center out the door for one thing, to support a petition calling for an Alberta independence referendum.
Younger Canadians. This isn't a boomer rebellion. The strongest support for independence is coming from ages 18 to 34. And that tells you everything. This generation doesn't romanticize the flag the same way. They run comparisons, wages, taxes, housing, opportunity. They look south and see higher pay in US dollars, lower taxes, cheaper homes, and more upside. Then they look north and see stagnation, rising costs, and lectures about patience. At some point, patriotism loses to arithmetic. That's the psychological break. Loyalty gets replaced by ROI thinking, not because people hate their country, but because they're tired of being told to subsidize a system that keeps shrinking their future. This generation grew up online, global, mobile. Borders feel less sacred when your career already lives in the cloud. Now add cities to that equation.
I'm hoping that we can convince at least 60% of our fellow citizens to leave Canada. I think the financial case for it.
And things get serious. Urban centers are where legitimacy lives. Calgary and Edmonton getting involved shatters the rural fringe excuse instantly. That's the moment separation stops being geographic and becomes demographic. Professionals, entrepreneurs, younger voters. Once cities engage, this stops looking like anger and starts looking like organization. And organization scares systems way more than rage ever could. Which brings us to Ottawa's worst nightmare, the strategic dead zone. Every option makes it worse. Legal obstruction invites constitutional challenges that expose limits of federal authority. Concessions legitimize the exit path. Silence amplifies uncertainty and capital flight. Political pressure hardens provincial resolve. Once timelines replace discretion, federal control collapses. You can't slow a clock with a press conference. And even if the
Now we're going to get to the fun video. Well, video is only about a minute long left, so I'll finish this video, but then we'll get to the fun video.
referendum fails,
Province's election agency has approved a citizen-led petition to gather signatures on the issue.
Ottawa still loses because the exit mechanism is now proven, repeatable, and legitimate. A failed vote doesn't put the genie back in the bottle. It teaches everyone how the bottle opens. Provinces adopt harder bargaining positions. Unity narratives lose credibility. Exit shifts from taboo to tool, from unthinkable
to
usable.
chatting.
From that point on, unity requires consent, not assumption.
Yeah.
And that's how countries actually break apart. Not with chaos, with process. Paperwork.
The AI voice is getting better. It used to sound very robotic. I mean, it sounds almost like a real voice now.
Beats protests every time in late-stage federations. Institutions reposition quietly, then publicly. Once leaving becomes possible, it's never unlearned. Even a narrow defeat leaves permanent damage.
Hello, John. Yeah.
Math already has. Control has shifted from Ottawa to the clock. Momentum now runs on infrastructure, contracts, logistics, and law, not emotion. Western Canada isn't asking permission anymore. It's checking options. And here's the part.
Yeah, I saw Corey Morgan on X, I think, use a similar line, like, we're not asking permission.
Part that lingers. Maps change when systems lose legitimacy. And legitimacy erodes through arithmetic.
Okay, we'll get to this fun one now here. I found a leftist Canadian YouTube channel. These are very rare. There's a few, but this channel called Worse Every Day. This is, they posted this video, the secret 500 million Canadian disinformation campaign. And then the thumbnail, I guess it's kind of important to this. It's like Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary in America, the price of treason, carrying a bag of money. And it's a 12-minute video, and I've actually only watched like the first 3 minutes or so. So we'll take a look at this because they come in hot. Like they're really making fun of the separatists from what I saw. So we'll take a look at this. Here we go.
All the oil and
Jack Posobiec, that's Charlie Kirk's former friend, I guess, sadly. R.I.P. Charlie Kirk. That was, yeah, so nuts. And then Scott Bessent.
the natural resources coming out of Canada. Texas is still larger.
Well, look, Alberta is a wealth of natural resources, but they won't let them build a pipeline to the Pacific. I think we should let them come down into the U.S. and Alberta is a natural partner for the U.S. They have great resources. The Albertans are very independent people. Rumors that they may have a referendum on whether they want to stay in Canada or not.
Sounds like you may know something up there.
People are saying, people are talking.
See this like lefty channels laughing at this here.
People are talking. People want sovereignty. They want what the U.S. has got.
Bullshit.
Sounds like you might know something up there.
He's like, wasn't one of the.
I'm actually glad I found this video because I want to hear what the people that are very against this actually think, not just on the talking heads of CBC or whatever that are obviously constrained or whatever. I think these people will just kind of speak freely on what they think. One thing I'll say, the only positive thing I saw from the video that I watched, their studio that they have looks amazing. Like it looks like they're in their basement, but they have this unbelievable studio. I mean, if you compare theirs to just like a regular YouTube channel, they obviously put a ton of work into this, and they got like multiple camera angles, as you'll see.
Questions.
Oh,
he was so proud of himself too.
Sounds like you might know something.
Yeah.
And he just grins.
It's getting worse every day.
He does know something. That's the thing. These separatists, they have been going around bragging that they are meeting with very important top Trump officials. And they're also claiming that they've already discussed a $500 million Alberta independence loan.
Why do we need a loan if we're going to be swimming in cash, baby?
And we're independent.
No more equalization.
Well, to the degree that's true, I believe that would be, I'd assume, to deal with like all the things that you have to do to set up a country. That's obviously not that's obviously not nothing. I have no problem with that. Again, to the degree that what they said is true, I don't think that's at all like a scandal. Are you kidding me? Like what would be the problem with that?
Alberta independence loan.
Why do we need a loan if we're going to be swimming in cash, baby?
And we're independent.
No more equalization payments.
Yeah.
No taxes.
Yeah.
Nothing. We're all going to just have piles of cash laying around. That's their plan, literally.
That's what they think. That's what they can
I was researching
con people with.
I'm genuinely intrigued by all the separation talk. So I look into it and I'm like, maybe there's something I don't understand. So you start
they get really quite deranged here moving forward.
Putting a list together and you realize pretty quickly these guys are in way over their heads.
Yes.
Like way over their heads. They think that we're not going to have income taxes anymore. We're not going to have corporate taxes.
Once we don't have that pesky equalization payment anymore.
I looked into that. I tried to find what he was talking about. I didn't see any example of anyone saying no income tax and no corporate tax. There has to be some tax somewhere. Like a lot of people are for lowering taxes, but I mean, does he think Alberta is going to do like the Trump plan and just try to do tariffs and fund the government that way? You still have to fund something. I know for sure the goal is lower taxes, but there has to be tax somewhere to run something.
Because when I was a kid, I loved America. I romanticized Hollywood.
Unless you just want to have like this crazy libertarian society where the police is private, everything's private. I don't know, but that's not, I think it's just way too, anyway, that's a lot. I don't want to get off on a tangent.
I loved movies. And I used to say when I grow up, I want to be American. Like I literally, as a teenager,
put them on a pedestal.
Told myself that I wanted to move to the States and, live the American dream. And obviously I watched the country completely implode. I don't feel that way.
Okay. How is America imploding? We covered GDP stats yesterday. This is just provably false. Canadians, either they're so stupid that they truly don't understand what GDP means, which is like, maybe you shouldn't be talking then about politics, or I just think they're willfully ignorant. They like to pretend that Canada is something that it's not. It's like this fake Narnia place where everything's all sunshine and rainbows and everyone gets amazing, free, fast healthcare.
Anymore.
Yeah,
anyway,
who would, other than these freaks that are completely in denial and they're so out of touch. They're so deep.
Freaks. You're a freak. What about when Quebec wanted to separate? Did they get called freaks? I kind of doubt it, but Albertan people that want to separate are freaks. So that's I probably only watched up till here. So there's the rest of the 10 minutes of the video I'm going to watch with you for the first time, but it was probably at that moment where I was like, I got to react to this video. Freaks.
These freaks that are completely in denial and they're so out of touch. They're so deep in the cult that they don't even.
And again, look at this. Oh, did that show up? Is this collapsing? GDP per capita of USA and Canada. That's a collapse? Which is the country that has collapsed? So crazy. That, by the way, is directly correlated to how much money people earn. That'd be like, directly correlated to the average salary. Would you rather be US or Canada? Are you kidding me? People in Canada don't even talk about this anymore, hardly. About how the wages are not going up. It's wild. We talk about climate change and a bunch of crap like that.
On a day-to-day basis. These are the same people that are like, we're going to be independent, but the US has already told us that we can, join the American currency, the same currency that's on like the verge of imploding because of the economic harm Trump is doing to the globe and to his own country.
So that's their plan.
Yeah, I could go like off on a 2-minute tangent about that. I'm not going to, but that's just what is she like supposed to be this financial expert? The American currency is going to collapse. And they show Ray Dalio, who I actually like this guy, but he's a hedge fund guy. He might change his mind. The US dollar is still doing fine. The US economy, by the way, this is even true under Biden. It is the envy of the world. Like, it's still the only advanced economy that has consistently good economic growth rates, at least better when you compare it to Canada and Europe. So again, this is just, they're framing reality here in a dishonest way. Maybe this is just ignorance or like wishful thinking, just wish casting that Canada is different than it is.
Because of all the economic harm Trump is doing.
Where's the economic harm? Again, I just showed this. This is the most important figure. Productivity. Productivity by far is the most important economic number. And where's the economic harm there? It's just so crazy. But I'm glad I found this video.
Globe and to his own country.
So that's their plan.
Mhm.
We're going to separate,
Mhm.
and then we're just going to ask the states
Yeah.
to step in and just do everything.
Yeah. It's all disinformation coming from the alt-right, coming from MAGA. They all live in this little bubble where they've convinced themselves because they're so tired of decades of Western alienation, and they can't see that they're just being played.
Yeah, I saw this Steve Bannon video the other day. He was talking to
Do you think you're being played? Do you think the Albertans are being played by this?
some guy, and they're talking about Alberta separating, and that the plan, because apparently there's a plan,
Of course there is.
is for Alberta to separate,
Mhm.
and then they will just take us and we'll become the 51st state.
Makes perfect sense. That's exactly why Jeff Rath is going on out there saying that when people are like, well, what are you going to do about the Canadian currency? And he's like, oh, it's no big deal. The
American.
Americans have already said we can use their dollar.
What are you going to do about passports, military,
Mhm.
you know, all the things?
First of all, I don't know if that's true. I think the more likely option would be Alberta continues to use the Canadian dollar, but okay, say that Alberta went to US dollars. USD, if you've been following it at all, if you've been to the United States lately, it's doing way better. When you buy a sandwich in America, it's like 50% extra because the weak Canadian dollar.
That you would need to come up with if you're becoming your own country.
Yeah.
Not to mention border security.
Yeah.
Do you know how many roads there are between the provinces
Yeah.
coming in and out of
Yeah,
Alberta?
yeah.
So what, we're going to have to build a security shack at every one of these roads now?
And what do you do about Lloyd?
Yeah.
Like-
Lloydminster, exactly. It's
Mhm.
right on the border. So
Mhm.
half the city
Yeah.
is going to be American, half the city Canadian.
Well, they're going to have to redraw those
That is actually interesting, though that is not unprecedented in the world. There are border towns.
lines because our national parks, arguably the best part of living in Alberta, is our access to Jasper, Banff National Parks. And now that's going to stay in Canada.
So the national
they
parks
have fun,
don't
BC.
come with Alberta.
No,
So
of course
what
not.
is Alberta without that?
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. A shithole.
Yeah.
Shithole.
Yeah, it's a beautiful province
Mhm.
if you include the Rocky Mountains.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I mean, there's
Okay. Oh man. The national park is not the Rocky Mountains. And again, I don't know how that exactly would work. The national park thing.
beauty, but there's nothing unique. Like if you get rid of the Rocky Mountains, we're no different than Saskatchewan, Manitoba. Like we're just a place where we have a bunch of oil in the ground that the Americans want to reap while there is still value. Because that's the other thing is these guys aren't seeing that the world is quickly approaching.
Oh my gosh. I know what she's about to say here. Come on. Again, this whole thing so far is just delusion. It's just wish casting how you want the world to be that does not map on to reality.
The other thing is these guys aren't seeing that the world is quickly approaching peak oil. Like there is going to be a day where Alberta is not the have province. They're going to become a have not province. And we're going to see Quebec, where apparently they have this huge trove of rare earth minerals and they have aluminum. Now we have Saskatchewan and this great canola deal.
She's speaking like she is the head of like RBC Bank, RBC Capital Markets. I don't even know who this person is, but these projections into the future, nobody can do this, let alone some random YouTuber, just project all these things happening for sure. And I mean, even if that even if oil does become in the future less valuable than it is right now, that is way down the line. I know lots of people want the net zero crap to happen by 2030. That we are nowhere near a moment where we have all this renewable energy that can power things. It's not even close.
And all this trade with China and their potash, like Alberta is going to end up being like the Belarus to the Americans, which will be Russia. And actually, while we're talking about Bannon, I wanted to play this little clip.
Chinata.
Chinata.
I was thinking the other day, is it really Chinata or is it Chai World
Yeah.
at this point?
Mm-hmm.
It's not Chinata.
Mhm.
Every country is integrating their economies with China right now, not just us.
Yeah. The US has been more integrated
Yeah.
with China
Because
than
we
any
make
other
we make
country.
one little deal and we're
Mhm.
Chinata now.
When you talk about the Arctic North, which used to be Canada's Great Barrier, it's now their biggest exposure. This is why I say they could be the next Ukraine. Where
We have
there
polar
you have two
bears up
Slavic
there.
entities fighting over the Russian-speaking eastern border. It's turned into a major war, a destructive war. Canada's north, you just heard about the Northwest Passage, which is right on top of their territorial. If the Chinese Communist Party either one works out some agreement to have basing rights or some sort of exercise rights there, or just decides that Canada can't defend it because the president of China came in 2010 and gave a speech. He had a state visit to Canada. And in the middle of that, I think he gave a speech where he said, hey, we're an Arctic power too. And they were looking around going, China's an Arctic power? What do
No,
they mean by that?
he's just lying. I was just reading about this the other day, and China has said because they ship through the Arctic, they have a vested interest. They are not trying to become an Arctic power, though. And what the fuck is going on with Bannon? Like, we just watched a video of him from like 11 months ago, and he was so much more eloquent. I can't even understand what the hell he's saying here.
Yeah, he's kind of
like mumbling,
slurring and
yeah.
and they're territorial. And I was like, what? What's he even talking about?
No.
I think it's because he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know for me, when I start bullshitting, my vocabulary drops massively.
Maybe it's the pressure since all those pictures came out showing what BFFs him and Jeffy Epstein actually are.
It looks almost like he's wearing some Donald Trump.
I hope they get back to talking about Alberta, but we'll see. I mean, they kind of still are. We will see.
Bronzer, right?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, she is an expert. Haha, yeah, right. If oil and gas goes away, we will all love the cold and yeah, exactly. Like that, so many liberals have this fantasy that we're 2 years away, 5 years away, 10 years away from having all this renewable energy. Yeah, it's in the short to medium term, even like the medium/long term, for sure. Oil and gas is very important, obviously. Yeah, there are, I don't know, there are border towns. Is there one? Yeah, I think there's one in Ontario that's like this, yeah. And I think the homes on the Ontario side are like double the price. I think so. Maybe someone can fact check me on that, but as if oil and gas are only, exactly. And as if like Albertans are just total morons that are gonna, even if that world ever did happen in like 100 years, there's more to do in Alberta, of course. There's still human capital. There's other resources. This chat is one big echo chamber. Okay, well, come on the show then, John, if you want. And I mean, I don't know what you want the chat to be. If you want to come on the show and not have it be an echo chamber, I'll put the link here. You can hop on and tell the chat where they're going wrong. Trump is king. Oh, the two people chatting. Yeah, that's why. Okay. But yeah, whatever. They can have their leftist dumb point of view. That's fine. If we separate, I just want to keep all the BCers out. They'll move here and turn it echo. Oh, that's like the thing. Yeah. It isn't a chat. It's a bashing channel. I just found this channel yesterday. I think they do like drama stuff. I don't know. Again, the one thing the channel does well, she's repeating TikTok talking points. It very well could be. Alberta separation will be dead in the water as soon as the new pipeline gets announced. No need to worry about it. Look, I don't think so, but it's actually a good, I mean, I wouldn't phrase it that way, but like, I do wonder if the Canadian government really did push through that pipeline to give Alberta a visual win, what that would do to the movement. Because I think you could argue that it would help the Alberta stay crowd, because some of the people on the fence would be like, oh, we got a pipeline. I don't know. So it's a good point, but I don't think this last line is at all true. No need to worry about it. I don't think that pipeline is going to happen. Like, I just think the resistance to the pipeline, even in the face of a strengthening Alberta independence movement, it's just crazy. There's so many trip lines in Canada to build a pipeline. There's the Indigenous groups. There's the environmentalists. There's just so much resistance and I just don't think people care. I think a lot of people have this attitude that Albertans are morons or freaks, like she said, and who cares what they want? Who cares? That has been going on for so long that I don't think a lot of people in Canada even want to pivot and actually take Alberta's concerns seriously.
Signature
Looks
series.
like shit.
Canada is in the vital national security interest of the United States. Some of our forefathers thought that too, both in the Revolutionary War, the War of 1812, et cetera, where we invaded Canada a couple of times in the
Kicked your ass.
the French and Indian War,
Okay.
which is all about
this whole, in 1812, what's the point of even saying that? In 1812, Canada, over 200 years ago, does not mean anything. Everybody knows the U.S. military, I think there was a study, it's like 2 hours they could take control of Canada. They could. Are you kidding me? Oh, we kicked so many Canadian liberals love that. In 1812, the White House.
Canada, right? American troops as part of the British
How would that go today? Are you like, it's so crazy.
Empire fought with General Wolfe and others. So Canada's been always kind of a linchpin for American security. Now, with advanced technology, it's even a bigger in the Northwest Passage. It's even a bigger in what we're doing in Greenland. I mean, this is inextricably linked to hemispheric defense. Hemispheric defense for the United States starts in Canada.
Inextricably.
Carney, and there are people worse than Carney there. You're seeing a shift in Canada right now. And this is why I think Alberta and this succession movement, they're sitting there going, it's not just about economics. That's not about tax policy. Canada is rapidly changing. 25% of Canada's, you just heard Tomlinson say, 25% of Canada's population is foreign born. 25%. Right now, Canada is rapidly changing.
Isn't that incredible? I actually looked that up. I've seen this clip before. We are around at 25% foreign born. And I think America is around 15. So we've had so much legal migration. And what did we get for it? Still a flat economy. That's maybe another issue to this, although it definitely ties into the Alberta independence movement for sure.
And I'm going to tell you, if you look at Parliament, if you look at some of these papers, you look at the discussion on TV there, Brian Kennedy, these people are hostile to the United States of America, not neutral. They're hostile to the United States of America.
Oh, yeah, we're so hostile.
What an up.
I mean, so many people are. What Bannon just said there is so accurate. Watch CTV, watch CBC. I talk about that quite a bit on my channel too, on other streams. The amount of hostility toward Trump and Americans on those mainstream channels is very unpatriotic for people to be doing that. Most important country, and they just dump on America and dump on Trump all the time.
Parliament, if you look at some of these papers, you look at the discussion on TV there, Brian Kennedy, these people are hostile to the United States.
He's right. They're pretty much all are. The hosts of the shows, the pundits on the shows, the political contributors on the shows. Again, how does Alberta not look at this and be like, what are you guys doing? Antagonizing America all day long. Is it for ratings?
America, not neutral. They're hostile to the United States of America.
Oh, yeah, we're so hostile.
What an absolute joke.
I thought that.
You are. Canada is. I'll defend that every day of the week.
Clip went on. I was waiting for the two white guys to chime in.
Say something.
Oh, the one guy was just like, yeah, just eating that.
What do you mean white guys? Everyone is white. There's two white people reacting to three white people. What the hell, dude?
Wait, I thought that clip went on. I was waiting for the two white guys to chime
Actually
in.
say something.
Oh, the one guy was just like, yeah, just eating that up.
The Davos speech, you think? Is that what you're talking about? So we can get the left to give him a pipeline? I mean, that's quite the theory. I'd be in favor of that if that actually happened, but I don't buy that. I think Carney did the MOU to try to just comfort Albertans with, oh, here's this announcement. Now just don't worry about it. We'll get to this in 3 years.
I can't stand the smugness of all that. And they're using phrases like the Northwest Passage. Like, what is this, Christopher Columbus all
Benjamin
over again?
Franklin.
Like, pretty sure Canada's fine.
We're not doing great, and living in Alberta, we are so affected on a daily basis by this bullshit. Like, we are top of mind to all of these guys, and there's
Like and subscribe, everyone. Please like the video and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers because then I can be monetized and move out of my mobile home.
sitting there giggling.
You know what I
with
think?
glee.
I don't think they need our oil. It's already obvious they don't.
Yeah, I mean, they want to take what they can while it's still valuable.
I don't even think it's about that. I think it's that they think Alberta is a province of fucking morons.
Yeah.
And they go, oh man, like imagine we'll win every election if we bring those fucking idiots in. Because that's what they want, is they want more dumb people
Yeah.
to vote Republican.
Yeah. And they want this to be a house of cards that falls apart. You start with Alberta and the rest of the provinces will follow because it's going to cause so much chaos.
I could be wrong, but I really don't think they need our oil. They already pump more oil out than they can process in a year.
True.
So what are they going to do with
Yeah.
this extra?
But why is Trump taking that
We
oil?
already use Alberta oil. What is he talking about?
One is they want more dumb people
Yeah.
to vote Republican.
And they want this to be
Okay, these people just hate, like, oh my gosh, more dumb people to vote Republican.
a house of cards that falls apart. You start with Alberta and the rest of the provinces will follow because it's going to cause so much chaos.
I could be wrong, but I really don't think they need our oil. They
They
already
need oil somewhere. They have oil, but come on, bro. What do you think Alberta sells the oil to?
pump more oil out than they can process
Yeah,
in a year.
true.
So what are they going to do with
Yeah.
this extra?
But why is Trump taking that oil tanker from Venezuela? Like, they want
Because
to make
he-
some quick bucks.
Because Trump's dumb. You know, he said, drill, baby, drill. And so to him, he just thinks oil. Oh, oil. We're all going to be swimming in vats of oil. Meanwhile, the whole world is moving to electrical.
Oh my God, bro. Again, the wish casting is out of this world.
Canadians, let's keep being hostile to Americans.
Oh my God. Good line there. This is like, these people want to drive the country into poverty to own Trump, to own MAGA and Maple MAGA. How do you not watch this as someone on the fence in Alberta and be like, I'm getting the hell out of Canada?
Let's keep being hostile to Americans.
You're supposed to throw your dope away before you get to the border. You fucked up.
I want to share one thing. I have been a part of these 51st state and Alberta like independence Facebook groups for probably going on a year now. The people that are in there posting every single day, I've looked at their profiles and almost all of them are Americans. And they're in there every day just posting the propaganda, trying to get the dumb Albertans riled up. But something interesting I've noticed has been happening the last couple of weeks. There have been more and more regular Albertans, regular Canadians going in and commenting and picking fights. And not only that, they're like fighting misinformation with information. And I think we should all be going into these forums and actually trying to educate these people. And there might be an opportunity to actually turn some of them.
That's a big ask.
I know.
Wow.
But people are doing it. And those of you that are, I commend you and I love it so much.
I used to.
Mhm.
And it's there's nothing more painful than writing the perfect statement that can't even be.
I know, Punisher. That's a good theory, I think. That could be what is happening.
argued because you've nailed every point.
Mhm.
And then these people respond with, "You're dumb,
Yeah.
libtard."
Yeah.
And you're just like, fuck.
Yeah, it's true. But the more people that can get in there, the harder it is for them to stay in their isolated bubble. And I think that's what is important. These people, they need to hear some facts. Even if they won't accept it, we got to just keep trying. Just
Yeah.
keep tent pegging it in, people.
That's too far. Too far. Just kidding.
Sorry.
Normally, I'm the one that takes it too far. Okay. Is that it for this one?
Yeah, I think we will see you guys again.
I wasn't even paying attention at the end of that, but okay. Interesting though. What do you guys all think of that video? Okay, we got another one here. It's from Alberta Proud Dad. If Alberta leaves Canada, the rest of Canada collapses.
Any more gas.
Yep.
We can't do that.
No.
For our own country, we can.
Absolutely.
Currently, BC gets almost all of their gas from us. I believe it's almost entirely from us. They have a 4-day supply.
Mhm. Yeah.
4-day supply.
That's it.
Which means, like, how's that province going to work if we say, yeah, we'll just keep it?
Yeah.
We'll see you in 4 days.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's part of the reason why they've said it.
Yeah, if anyone wants to call into the show, now would be a good time. Just chilling. It'd be nice to get a pro Carney person in here, a pro stay in Alberta. That'd be nice.
Delegation to the United States as well to you know, recognize Alberta as a statehood, as their own independent nation. If we do this, get this across the line, these people are doing the work. Like these people out there are doing the work, and I want to say thank you to them, because you know, I wasn't with them, and I'm living proof. A guy who covers, you know, politics all the way from municipal all the way to the federal and then global, was not with Separation. And now I am.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, you just got to hear these people out. Some of them a little bit, whatever, but everybody.
Is that what she meant? Because I wasn't even paying attention. I was looking at a different video. Was that the joke? Jesus.
He has, just like in content creation, everybody in a movement has a place in the movement, I feel. And, you know, we need to do what's best for the people. And I think what's best for the people is to make Canada obsolete. And that hurts me to say. It still hurts me to say, because I'm a newbie to this, right? But
well, and much like that person who has to, you know, divorce their spouse because they're no longer compatible, much like that person who, you know, they need to leave their career or.
Yeah, this is actually interesting. TDS, it might be stronger up here, although I don't know. It's hard to say. There's a lot of TDS in America. I don't know if I could give a clear-cut winner, but there's so much TDS in Canada. And it's,
or partners in business go separate ways. It's not about.
I don't know. I think they said Alberta. I'm not 100% sure. I think I caught that in the video, but maybe not.
Right or wrong. Sometimes it's just, we don't fit anymore.
Exactly.
And that's where we're at. We don't fit. And if you're honestly looking at the situation with, like, look, with my.
I'm from Saskatchewan, although I'm just moving back here. I lived in Alberta for 3 years. I've lived there. I played hockey there for the better part of 2 years, but now I'm in Saskatchewan for right now.
Marriage, I fought to keep it going forever. My ex-wife had the courage to leave it when I never would have, right? And now both of us are much happier.
Yeah.
I would have hung on forever.
Yeah.
I would have just ground it out forever. She had the wisdom to go, hey, this isn't good for either one of us. And, you know, we fought like crazy after it happened. Now we're good. If you look at this rationally, if you look at what's happening without emotion, with a very rational decision, you go, okay, does this make sense anymore? It's very hard. It's very hard to see it another way.
Yeah.
You have to be really thick to think that this can still work.
Yeah.
And it's never going to.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think, you know, so the population of Alberta is 5 million people. How many people are going to vote in this referendum? 2 million?
Yeah, I would say about that.
Okay. Like, I think in the last federal elections, like 1.4 million. Let's just assume we get higher voter turnout, right? And
I think that's probably fair. I think it'll probably be around 2 million. And then how many, like, I think this might actually, like, it's incredible because this will definitely change Canada and the world landscape. And man, I think if I had to bet right now, I think I'd bet on it working and Alberta leaving.
Let's assume that it's going to be close, right? Let's say that this vote's going to come down to 5% either way. I'm sure it'll actually be closer than that.
Yeah.
Okay. So think about this. How many
There
followers?
is going to be a humongous slur campaign that comes out pretty soon. I would predict as well. It'll be, if you're for this, you're a traitor, you're a pro-Trumper, you're a racist, you hate immigrants. You know, everything they can possibly think of is coming. I think that the Trump line will be what they think will work, because they'll try to convince the undecided Albertans that if you vote for this, you love MAGA. You're MAGA. You're a Trump fan. That is what I think will be their main attack line.
Do you have on social media in total?
Oh, 680,000.
Okay. And probably 250 of those are here in Alberta?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, and I would have, not as many as that, but then, we look at the influencers and you look at the message that we can get. And so right now there's three types of people. There are the people who for sure they know they're voting to separate and nothing will convince them otherwise. There are the people who, no, they're going to vote to stay no matter what. The way I would have stayed in my marriage no matter.
Yeah, I talk about this a lot lately. The doctor, the healthcare in Canada has gone off of a cliff. It's so brutal. Like and subscribe. Thank you, Peener. Peener. Smash the like button. Can't wait for Alberta independence. Hello, Chad. Thank you for chatting. Why don't you think it will happen? I said it would. You're probably talking to a chatter. They can F off. Legacy media is fake news, nothing more than a propaganda machine for sure.
Or what, right? And then there's this great big chunk in the middle. And the great big chunk in the middle is looking at it going, I don't know if I understand it well enough, right? This is the chair that you and I and some other people are in, where we can play a role in educating them on making the right decision for them.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not going to tell anybody, I don't care if you're NDP, Liberal, Conservative, that is not what this referendum is about. You got to figure out if this is right for you. And there are lots of examples of it. I had a guy reach out the other day because I'm doing one tomorrow with Keith Wilson and Tanya Clemens. And all it is, the whole podcast is only talking about questions that people have sent in. Here's an example of a question.
Yeah, I think this is a good framing. Change is scary, yes, but so is being suppressed and being broke. Yeah, I agree with that.
Guy said, I have a criminal record. I've turned my life around. I have a criminal record. Right now I can travel within Canada. If this referendum passes, am I going to be able to?
It is a lot easier for me. Although it's more fun to watch people who are being negative, it's so much easier as a streamer to react to stuff you pretty much agree with. Because when you're reacting to the other side, like that video I just showed, you need to sit there and pay attention because you want to try to make your point and actually respond to what they're saying. It's way easier to just be
like,
I agree.
Leave Alberta, or am I stuck here? Well, what a novel question.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I never even thought of that.
Yeah.
Right? Or you worry about your pension, or you worry about this. People need to understand what's going on. And so my goal, you and I've talked a lot about you can't cover every issue.
No.
I'm all in on this between now and the end of the year. And when I say all in, I'm not here to convince people which way to vote. My objective is to give everybody answers to the questions that they personally have, because everybody's agenda is different. Everybody's priorities are different. I'm going to make it my mission to create something that people can look and go, okay, this is my main question. This is the answer. And then once that's done, then the goal is to get the person who says, oh, this.
Yeah, I'll probably come back there, but this is a new one. I just found this. I don't know if I'll actually watch the full video. We'll see kind of what this guy says. But the title is, Are Alberta Separatists Traitors? History, Democracy, and Dissent. It's kind of in the way there, but yeah, you can see the title. We'll take a look. We'll see if it's interesting. If it's not, we'll go somewhere else.
To the Weighted Native Chronicles. Right now, the conversation around Alberta separatism is loud, emotional, and increasingly hostile, especially on social media.
Hello, Irene. Thanks for chatting.
Opponents of separatism often dismiss the idea outright by branding its supporters as traitors and by telling them, if you don't like Canada, you should just leave. But that argument cuts both ways. One could just as easily turn it around and say, maybe it's the opponents of Alberta separatism who could consider leaving, because in the end, the outcome will hinge on a democratic process. not on insults.
What's the count? I don't know. I don't think they'll release it. I think if they're smart, actually, they don't even release numbers if they're allowed to not release them, because not releasing it incentivizes more people to go sign up, I think.
Traded online. And that's part of the problem. His rhetoric.
I've heard of this person. Yes. Frank Vaughn. He was just on with Clyde Do Something. I watched maybe a 10-minute segment on him. He sounded like very knowledgeable. Frank Vaughn.
Heats up, both sides talk past one another, motives are assumed, and complex questions are reduced to slogans. So in this video, the goal is not to inflame that dynamic further. Instead, the aim is to slow things down and introduce some historical context, to look at past changes to Canada's power structures, and ask whether...
This might sound, I'm going to go somewhere else. I think this might be kind of boring. Shout out to that guy, but if he's going to go like a slow video, it's not for, I don't want to talk about that right now.
Thought it was to talk to 3 friends.
Yeah.
If they can convince one of those 3, we win in a landslide.
Yep. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And that's kind of my goal too, right? I'm still following the politics. I'm still covering it. I'm still doing it, but I got to kick it into another gear for separation. And that's why, when I was asked if I would get those signatures and then start a signature drive, absolutely I would, because it is important. And I just encourage people, if you're out there and you don't know, and you don't have those questions, Adam's going to be doing it on his channel, Army of Great Men. Go look him up. He's going to be doing this stuff.
Yep.
And, you can follow me, and there's many other content creators, or go to the Alberta
Okay, we got a new one here from this David Fraser channel. Yeah, let's watch this here. These videos are quite interesting. I think he kind of reuses clips, but these videos are good. We've reacted to them before on the channel.
A citizen-led petition calling for Alberta to seek independence from Canada is gaining momentum across the province.
Quite frankly, I think the people of Alberta would agree with that sentiment, that they would prefer not to be a part of Canada and be a part of the United States.
Western Canada just crossed a line Ottawa swore would never be touched. The conversation about the 51st through 56 states is official, it's organized, and it's accelerating fast. The Western provinces went all in, and the reaction from the top was raw panic as Carney visibly exploded in real time, exposing just how serious this has become.
I do think that at this point it's enough to get the question asked. As long as they get the number of signatures that are required.
Do you think that's true? Separatist? I don't think separatist is negative. I don't I don't feel like that has a negative connotation, but
been the rule of the game here.
Ottawa just kept telling itself this is just noise. And honestly, for a long time, even I wondered how far this would really go. I mean, the 51st state. But the illusion broke the moment multiple provinces and territories started moving together. Not yelling.
Yeah, I've heard there's like thousands of people probably going to be at that event. At the Big Four.
Not threatening, moving. Quiet.
That's right where I used to live. Like I've lived I probably 5-minute walk to that building.
Legally, in sync. That's the moment that I realized Canada crossed a line it can't walk back from. Governments don't fear angry votes. They fear coordination. And this isn't a temper tantrum. This is capital, labor, and resources lining up their exits.
In this time of great consequence, we are choosing. We are choosing to work together to build one Canadian economy. We've made great progress over the past year. Now we have to redouble our efforts with the provinces and territories.
You could feel it when Mark Carney went on TV and completely lost his composure. That wasn't confidence. That wasn't leadership. That was panic. Elites don't melt.
Yeah, independence maybe is more aspirational. It's probably a little bit more positive, but who cares? Like this part, the separatists, who cares what they say? Just whatever. Canadians for so long have, I think, cared about the liberal slurs. The liberals do not care about insulting conservatives in Canada. They'll say whatever they want, but the moment you insult a liberal, they throw a hissy fit.
Down over fringe ideas, they melt down when the system they depend on starts slipping through their fingers.
It hasn't been going very well in Canada for the past however long.
Now, by the way, I'm going to be in Alberta soon. I'll probably do some live streams. Some of these events, I actually just want to get on a plane or whatever, go to Alberta and just start live streaming some of this stuff. I probably will do that because, I mean, it just looks like a fun thing to stream. And I love the movement.
And we have young children, and we hope to give them a better future if we can make some changes in this province. And if that means separating, then so be it.
When the regions paying the bills start asking a
The reason I love the movement, it just seems unapologetically, I guess, more conservative, but just more realistic about the problems of Canada. I feel that the current Conservative Party of Canada, I think, only gets about halfway there. And then they stop short of really wanting to address the issues. I think this movement, to me, I align with this movement way more than the CPC.
dangerous question. Hey, why are we still funding this? This isn't Western alienation anymore. Alienation complains and waits. What's happening right now is withdrawal, systemic, calculated, and once that mindset sets in, it doesn't reverse.
Our hope is that Alberta separates to become its own country.
Yeah, that's interesting, Yo Daddy. The problem with calling it independence is that Danielle and others are referring to it to staying united in Canada. We need to call it what it is, separation. Yeah, personally, I do not hold a negative connotation in my head to the word separation. I think that's fine. I don't even really understand. Yeah, I know liberals might want to use that as a slur. I hear you, but I think the word separation personally is fine.
Here's the part Ottawa desperately hoped people would never fully understand. A referendum doesn't mean instant separation. A 50% plus one vote forces negotiations. That's it. But those negotiations are mandatory. The Supreme Court was very clear about that. And that single legal reality is why the federal government spent decades trying to make sure a vote never happened at all.
At this point, I think it's likely that they get the number of signatures that they need.
That's also why Alberta's referendum framework terrified them. It's clean, it's lawful, and it can't be blocked. Once one province triggers negotiations, every other dissatisfied region suddenly gains leverage. Saskatchewan, Manitoba, British Columbia, even Quebec. That's the domino effect Ottawa fears, because it's not emotional, it's legal.
For the first time in years, without having to run through Ottawa's red tape, which we're sick of.
And no, this didn't come out of nowhere. The West didn't suddenly wake up angry. The system was designed this way from the beginning. Back in 1904, Clifford Sifton openly stated that developing the West was meant to enrich Ontario and Quebec. That wasn't a conspiracy, that was literally official policy. Extraction wasn't a failure of Confederation, it was the plan. Everything that followed was just built upon that. The National Energy Program, equalization formulas, pipeline.
Yeah, that's true.
Bans, regulatory chokeholds. This isn't resentment, it's just math, and it's a whole century of it.
Out east, and we get nothing back in return. And the people here have to work extremely hard to pay their rent, to pay their gas bills, to buy their food, and I think enough is enough.
That's why calling this betrayal misses the point completely. What's happening now feels a lot more like delayed accountability, a bill that finally came due.
So you would rather be American than Canadian?
Yes, but I'd rather be Albertan, independent.
And Alberta is the reason the entire country is shaking. Alberta stopped being the cash cow that complained and stayed. The Alberta Prosperity Project didn't just talk, it organized, got volunteers, signatures, petition booths are everywhere people actually live in their lives. The conversation shifted. This isn't just about independence anymore, it's about American statehood, because statehood solves problems that independence alone doesn't.
Alberta needs to be strong and free from the shackles of the Liberal government. We are tired. We don't matter in this relationship, and it has to stop. I think we've had enough.
Currency stability, defense, trade. Capital is staying put instead of fleeing. When Albertans look at their $340 billion GDP and compare keeping it local under U.S. federalism versus watching it redistributed east under Canada's equalization system, the math becomes painfully simple. That's why 43% openly support joining the U.S. before a single vote has even happened. In politics, that number alone is a red alert.
For the first time, there is now a public timetable.
Property rights push it even further. Canada doesn't have constitutional property protections. That's just a fact. Property taxes function like permanent rent. You never truly own what you pay for. In the US, property rights are constitutionally protected. For a resource-rich province trying to build generational wealth without fear of government seizure, that difference matters deeply. It's quiet, but it's decisive.
At the end of the day, if Trump decides to take over Alberta, Canada, whatever, we're not going to be able to stop him. So
Canada gets a lot of freebies from us, by the way. They should be grateful also, but they're not. I watched your prime minister yesterday. He wasn't so grateful. But they should be grateful to us. Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements.
And here's the part no one in Ottawa wants to say out loud. While Canada panics, Donald Trump isn't dismissing this at all. He's actually doing the opposite. At the World Economic Forum, he talked about borders that no longer make economic sense, about growth and energy security and a bigger, stronger North American map. That wasn't accidental.
I think at this point, the numbers are surprisingly strong. These events have been incredibly well attended. There was one here in Edmonton, just a few blocks from where I am now, on the weekend that had, pictures of what appeared to be thousands of people lined up.
From Washington's perspective, this looks like an opportunity. I mean, look at it. Alberta's oil, Saskatchewan's agriculture and minerals, Manitoba's hydro, BC's ports, and the Arctic. Provinces that already trade more south than east. When Trump talks about welcoming productive regions, he's not just talking theory, he's talking about leverage.
It's certainly different from what we see in other parts of the country where the numbers are lower. We don't see any other part of Canada where we reach such a high number of people who say this is a real possibility.
Saskatchewan didn't throw a tantrum. It didn't stomp its feet. It didn't hold dramatic press conferences. Saskatchewan did something far more dangerous to Ottawa. It calmly got its paperwork in order. Premier Scott Moe mastered what I call the public calm, private construction strategy. On camera, reasonable, measured, cooperative. Behind the scenes, though, aligning legislation with Alberta line by line like a private insurance policy.
Federal government is talking about export tariffs on Alberta oil and gas or export bans on Alberta oil and gas. They're the ones who say that nothing's off the table. Well, we're the ones who are saying then if that's not off the table, then the 51st state is not off the table. Because
Saskatchewan ran the numbers, and the numbers were ugly. Federal policy as it stands is projected to cost the province $111 billion by 2035. That is not a political talking point. That's a slow bleed, people. Pipeline stalled, uranium trapped, potash overregulated, capital leaving, talent leaving. Saskatchewan didn't wake up one morning wanting America. America was simply the only direction left that didn't involve managed decline. And here's the key thing people miss. Saskatchewan doesn't need to lead this. It just needs Alberta to succeed. Alberta cracks the door. Saskatchewan walks through without resistance. Same grid, same trade flows, same export markets, and also the same frustrations. And once Alberta showed this wasn't fantasy, Saskatchewan quietly said, hey, good. When you're ready, we are too.
So why would a majority of Albertans think separation could happen if only a minority actually wanted to? I mean, there's always been an element at the fringes with an appetite for the idea. What's changed?
Then there's Manitoba. If Alberta and Saskatchewan join the U.S., Manitoba is physically cut off from Canada, which leaves them three pretty bad options. Stay tethered to Ottawa through 1,000 miles of American territory, become an economic island, or align with the reality already staring them in the face.
Alberta, Saskatchewan, and BC power brokers have unveiled concrete roadmaps. So we're talking, again, provisional governments, we're talking control over resources, taxation, law enforcement, even infrastructure. Every area Ottawa's been accused of mishandling for years.
Nearly 70% of Manitoba's exports already go south. Trucks don't lie, rail doesn't lie, supply chains don't care about federal slogans. Statehood suddenly becomes logical, and Manitoba brings real value to the table. Hydropower that could anchor Midwest grids. The port of Churchill, long ignored by Ottawa, suddenly becomes a strategic northern trade hub. The province shifts from forgotten middle child to economic connector. That's why 58% support rattled Ottawa more than Alberta's numbers. Alberta's angry, Manitoba's practical, and practical votes are harder to scare.
Whatever is good for Canadians, whatever is good for the economy. Because right now I feel like everyone is being selfish. You know, they care more about this. I'm talking about politicians. They should care about the people first.
Now let's talk about British Columbia, because BC isn't flirting with separation.
True.
BC is loading a legal time bomb and walking away calmly. The constitutional challenges against equalization aren't about getting a better deal. They're about dismantling the financial architecture of Confederation. BC is saying this system is illegal, outdated, and we're done pretending otherwise.
Pipeline cancellations, tightening of regulations, tax grabs from Ottawa. They've hammered their economies.
BC pulls in $31.6 billion in natural resource revenue, more than Canada's entire construction sector. And yet it's told to stay quiet, cap production, and redistribute. That worked when the province felt heard, but it stopped working when Vancouver started looking south and realizing, hey, Seattle and Portland make more sense than Ottawa and Toronto. And inside BC, the cracks are widening. Coastal elites are blocking pipelines while interior communities bleed jobs. Businesses relocating east of the Rockies or south of the border. This is a province splitting along the economic fault lines. Now, here's where things truly went off the script for Ottawa, though: the North. The territories were never supposed to be a part of the conversation. You know, small populations, limited political weight, easy to manage. Except suddenly, they weren't manageable anymore.
So let's dig into the big questions. Is this just noise or a real movement? Across the country, people are rallying around the same idea: unity.
On Monday, Canadians elected a new government to stand up to President Trump and to build a strong economy.
The Yukon and the broader North realized something important. We have mineral wealth.
This is a cool video. So this is kind of about the, I believe it's Buffalo, right? But I don't know much about like that name, but all these different provinces coming together. Yeah, Wexit. I don't know. That would be fascinating. It definitely, if you go to Toronto and then you go to Calgary or you go to the prairies, it does feel like a different country. You could argue that's good, but I don't know. Those two, like Ottawa, or rather Ontario, Quebec, does feel very disconnected from the prairies. Culturally, you just feel it when you're there. It does not, to me, feel like the same place.
Rare earths and Arctic positioning, and that all matters right now. And Indigenous governments aren't interested in Ottawa's consultation theater anymore. They want autonomy that actually comes with revenue, not symbolism. Alaska showed the model: development, local control, and real money staying local. And when northern leaders are starting to open...
I do feel a little bit of sympathy or whatever for people that live in Ontario who are actually conservative, because I think you're outnumbered. So shout out to you, or even Quebec too. Like, the definite default position there, in my opinion, is center left. Even the right-wing people, from what I see in Ontario, of course there are exceptions, I think are pretty centrist. Yeah.
Reference Alaska, Ottawa start panicking because a territory stepping outside the script is symbolic humiliation. A reminder that authority only works when people still believe in it.
In Quebec, you had a provincial government that had been elected on a sovereignty platform. And
yeah, Fringe is hilarious. Fringe is funny. So is Pleb. There's some funny Canadian. I'd say of the YouTubers, I think those are the two, at least if you're ranking humor. Fringe has those Trump impressions and stuff. And then Pleb is just kind of like a goofball, but in a funny way.
And then they held a referendum as part of that democratic mandate.
So more broadly right now, Quebec politics enters a moment of uncertainty. Coalitions are going to shift. Narratives are going to be completely rewritten.
And just when Ottawa thought the chaos was safely boxed out west, Quebec blew the doors off the entire illusion. The leader...
Yeah, is Fringe like a comedian? Does he do stand-up comedy or anything? Or is he just naturally this funny guy? Because he is quite funny for like a live streamer. He is definitely hilarious.
Resigned one day before the election. That move detonated the campaign, froze the establishment, and cleared the runway for one thing Ottawa has spent decades trying to suppress: a clean path to a referendum.
Are we going to draw conclusions based on reality? Or are we going to keep on telling ourselves stories that we know are not true because we just...
Is Fringe your guys' favorite Canadian creator? I know lots of people like Moose. Moose is probably the most popular right now. I think Jasmine is really good. Yeah, who's your favorite content creator in Canada?
Tested it, that we just witnessed the end of an era in Quebec. That era is not only about François Legault.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. He was like a political person. Wow. I hope your channel gets big, and I hope to see you one day. Yeah, I'd love to have guys like that on the stream. That'd be amazing. I'd be very very happy with that. I also do have,
even though François Legault is the larger part of the CQ, it's about a political philosophy.
With the leadership vacuum, the conversation snapped back into focus.
like I am a YouTuber. Like this is my actual YouTube channel that does actually well. And it was actually talking about kind of everything. This channel, like I talked about Justin Trudeau on this channel and stuff, but then a bunch of videos started doing well on the American election. But so I am like a YouTuber. I've just been focusing on, see, I haven't posted in a little while, but I've been focusing on this channel because it's just been piquing my interest lately. Some of the stuff happening in Canada. But yeah, like if I go to some of my older, like see like these, I'm talking about initially all Canada stuff pretty much. And then I just switched to, I just talked about whatever. That's sort of the YouTube strategy. It's like, these are all getting like no views really. But then eventually they started doing well. But then I kind of split it up. Like I actually have 3 YouTube channels, but I'm really only focusing on 2 right now. Yeah. That kind of is the strategy on YouTube. Like you kind of make a bunch of videos and then you'll notice a few will do a little bit better. Maybe you could argue it's bad to pigeonhole yourself, but right now on this channel, I like talking about Alberta independence and just general Canadian news. That's pretty much what I do. Like I'm going to probably go live later tonight with some more just general Canadian news.
No more vague promises, just a blunt question sitting on the table. Why stay in a system that no longer functions? Independent support was already hovering around 45% and rising fastest among younger voters who don't really carry
You think this video is AI that we're watching?
Emotional baggage from the old referendums. They don't remember the fear campaigns. They remember tuition costs, housing pressure, and a federal system that talks unity while delivering stagnation.
Monday. Really? Like he's got a big head? He's pretty arrogant? There's no Canadian content creator that I would say I'm like a total expert on. I watch all of them, bits and pieces, but I'm not a regular viewer. I'm like that with everything. I just kind of sporadically watch anything. But who would I say I watched the most? I watched the Pleb quite a bit during the election, but that was like a while ago now. I like a lot of them for different stuff. Yeah, Moose is doing really well. Sunshine Baby. Yeah, I used to watch Sunshine Baby quite a bit. Also like Portuguese Pie. That's cool. I haven't seen that guy post in a while. Like he just hasn't shown up on my algorithm, but I used to watch some Portuguese Pie stuff. Yeah, I know call-ins are good, but it's hard to, I mean, you can't really force people to call in, but thank you for saying that. Fringe is the light that guides us.
Canadians elected a new government to stand up to President Trump and to build a strong economy, working in real partnership with provinces, territories, and Indigenous peoples.
So here's where it gets uncomfortable for Ottawa because independence, it's not really the end game anymore. Statehood entered the room not as a slogan, but as a spreadsheet. Suddenly, U.S. statehood isn't framed as assimilation, but preservation.
The thing is, there's not really liberal Canadian YouTubers that much. There's a little bit. Like there's Charlie Angus. There's Laura Babcock. There's Rachel Gilmore. There's that channel we just watched called, what was it called? Worse Every Day or something. I don't even know who would come on here and debate me. Like the thing, actually, I thought about this. If you were a left-wing Canadian, you should make a YouTube channel because you'd be almost competing with nobody, right? You could just go on, search the Pleb Reporter and start talking about what a moron you think he is. And then go to Elevate Podcast. Oh, this is like, nobody else does that. So it's funny how there's really no left-wing content creator. I mean, Rachel Gilmore, I guess you'd have to say is the big example. But I mean, I don't think I never watch her show. I don't want to watch her show other than those little ones that she makes. I guess that's not true. I don't never those short videos she makes. Sometimes I'll react to those, but like there's no big Canadian lefties. There was an account called Steve Boots. Did you ever hear of the account called Steve Boots? Because that account was kind of big for a while, but then they quit. They're there. None of us are looking for them. That's why we don't know about them. There's also an account called Rational National. I just became aware of, but they're more, they talk about Canadian a little bit, but they talk about American politics a lot. So they're pretty big. But yeah, I wish there was more of an environment in Canada because it'd be fun if there was some lefty lunatic to come on here and scream at me, because I think that'd be good content, because that conversation hardly happens in Canada. And it'd be good for the discourse, because then you could see, oh, maybe I agree with the left on that, or maybe I agree with, maybe some lefties would be listening to me or someone else and they'd say, oh, actually I agree with that point on the right. That's a good observation. But I mean, America definitely has way more of that. You can find American political debates. They're almost, you could argue, is too much in America. There's so much political debate. And in Canada, there's not a lot. Even on CBC, on CTV and stuff like that. Is there much debating? I see a lot of agreeing with each other. A lot of lefty stuff. So anyway, if you guys know any liberals, tell me or tell them about the channel and tell them to call in if they want to. And I don't even need to be that confrontational if they're not. I don't care. We can just have a conversation. Plus, the other thing, I'm not going to claim to be the best debater. Like that's not my purpose with this show. I've really never debated. In like college, maybe I did a little bit, but I really have essentially no practice debating. So if someone does, they could come on here and probably do quite well. Watching Karen's meltdown is, those videos are funny. I'm a Republican. Shout out John. Shout out Republican Party.
This is where Trump enters the picture, and yeah, the hints were deliberate. At the World Economic Forum, Trump talked about expanding America's strategic footprint, about fixing broken borders and broken alliances, and when Western Canada came up, he smiled.
Thursday's speech to Canada was really trying to remind us that picture I painted in Davos of Canada, of Canadians being proud and strong and tough, that's true. And now here's what we have to do moving forward. And the message was very clear. Canada's government is about to move very quickly and very decisively to try to create conditions for Canada to be economically prosperous over the coming years, and certainly while we're dealing with Donald Trump and the trade war.
Here's the answer Ottawa won't answer. Why keep funding a system designed to extract from you? Why accept permanent minority status and federation that you bankroll? Why fear negotiations if the deal is actually fair? The silence is the loudest right about now.
Cool.
With our economy under threat from abroad.
I'm going to stop the stream for now. I'm going to get some food. And it's not that late yet. I'm going to go probably live. I'm sure I will. All leftists do is gaslight you, then ignore liberal master debaters. Calling it is required. Yeah, that'd be nice. I'm an Albertan Republican. Nice. There is a Republican Party there. So watching. So anyway, I'm gonna go get some food. I'll probably go live later tonight with a stream just on the Canada news, on the tariffs, on some of Carney's remarks lately. But thank you everyone for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and I'll see you all later.